1 Corinthians 6, verses 19 and 20. Paul asks, "Or do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You're not your own, for you were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body." I just read this because today I'm going to make granola, a very healthy breakfast cereal. Very simple to make. Most people don't know how to make it. It's so simple and it's really yummy. Anyways, I'm starting to get out my ingredients. I've got my giant silver bowl, and I'll get back to you on the ingredients. Okay, so here's a standard recipe. It calls for 4 cups of old-fashioned rolled oats. I actually use the 1-minute quick oats. 1.5 cups raw nuts and or seeds. I'm putting in 1 cup of raw cashews and 1/2 cup of some flaxseed, hemp seed, and sesame seeds mixed up to make up my 1.5 cups. Oh, and by the way, folks, I don't measure anything. I just kind of guesstimate. After all these years, I'm pretty close to being right, so I don't worry about it. Anyways, next up is some fine-grained sea salt, a teaspoonful. And if you're like me and you've got a little bit of high blood pressure, that teaspoonful is going through a whole mess of food here, so it's not going to amount to very much. Then you're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/2 cup of melted coconut oil or olive oil. I don't care for olive oil, so I'm using coconut oil, and 1/2 cup of honey. You can use maple syrup if you like that. A teaspoon of vanilla extract, which I'm going to use hazelnut extract because I like the flavor a little bit better in there. And then the dried fruits chopped. That's 2/3 of a cup. I usually end up with about a cup I throw in there. I throw in a little bit of everything, just a little bit more than what it calls for. And I add extra oil and honey to mix it all together with. And then you can throw in 1/2 cup of chocolate chips or something like that if you like. I'm not going to do any of that because I like my granola just plain. It's really good like this. And I'll show you what it looks like when I get it most of the way mixed up. Now I've got a cookie sheet spread with parchment paper out here. Got my oven preheated to 350. And I've got this jar of honey and coconut oil. Now, I use the coconut oil because I prefer the flavor over the olive oil, but you can use olive oil. What I've got in here is just my oats and my raw cashews, salt, cinnamon. And what I'm going to do is put a teaspoon of my hazelnut extract in with the oil and the honey, and then I'm going to stir it into here. The whole idea is to try to coat everything, every little piece, with some honey and oil, and make sure that it's all mixed up together really good. I will mix this and mix this and mix this for the next 5 minutes or so. try to make sure everything is coated, everything. All right, that looks pretty good right there. Now I'm going to bake this whole mess after I dump it out on my pan for about 12 minutes. Okay, so now I've poured my mixture, minus the fruit here, into my pan, spread it out a little bit, and I'm going to bake this for 12 minutes. And there we go. Set the timer. There we go. In case you're wondering. After the initial 12-minute cook time, you're going to take it out, and you'll see it's already starting to brown a little bit. It smells wonderful. Getting brown around the outer edges. So I'm going to take my bowl of fruit. This is dried plums, figs, bananas, and peaches. I've cut them up pretty small. The reason why I didn't put them in here to begin with was because that a lot of times my home dried fruit will get really hard in here. If you're drying it well enough to make sure that it doesn't spoil on you, then a lot of times it's hard. If it's already hard, last thing you want to do is cook it, make it even harder. Anyways, so I've added all my fruit. Now I'm going to take my spoon and just stir it all in. See all these brown edges? I'm going to dump those in and kind of spread it out there a little bit. I like my granola so that it kind of has clumps in it, chunky. Although, you know, just the regular is fine too, but I like crunchy, chewy stuff. So, I just keep stirring it all into the middle so I don't make a big mess. My pan is a little small for this. I'll end up with 5 or 6 cups of granola. And quite honestly, a half a cup for breakfast is probably more than enough. Although this stuff is so good. Right now, you could take a small bite of this and just go, it smells wonderful. Hazelnut. But I want my fruit to be mixed in with everything else. I just don't want it hard as a rock or dried out. Hard as a rock. But anyways, if we just mix it all together, try and get some of the center stuff to the outer edges. Try to mix in the pre-cooked. You're going to be cooking this one more time for about 12 minutes. So, I add the plums and things because it helps with the bathroom area. You know, plums are prunes. But they called them dried plums in the store, so okay. I also try to buy all GMO or organic products whenever possible because my body is a temple unto the Lord. And the Lord has promised me that I will be around for 120 years if I take care of it. I'm trying. Like to see what my grandkids look like in another 50, 60 years. Anyways, that looks pretty good right there. Okay, so let's throw it back in the oven for another 12 minutes. I know I told you about 12 minutes, but this is after 10 minutes in this oven. This oven runs a little warm, I think. Anyways, just cook it between 20 and 24 minutes. Keep checking it second time around because otherwise you end up with some really crunchy edges and things, which I didn't mean to do. But it's all good because I'll mix it all together. Now, what you want to do is leave this sitting. It's all got to cool till it's completely cool. Don't touch it at all, and that way you can have clumpy granola. Right now it's burning hot and it'll burn your fingers. Anyways, my recipe says that it's about 8 cups or 16 half-cup servings, and that after it's completely cool, put it in a bag or a sealed container, and it should last, as long as it's not hot and things in your house, it should last a couple of weeks on the counter. If you want it to last longer, you can leave it, keep throwing it back in the freezer, because all of this can be frozen, but you can leave it in the freezer for up to 3 months. But if you could just smell this and taste this, I'm sure you would be loving it. And this will help keep my body healthy. That's what I'm aiming for. The healthier I can keep myself, the longer I'll be around to watch my grandkids. Okay, so here's the recipe if you want to try it. Anyways, there it is, folks. Give her a try. It's really good. I'm already eating it.